Hello everyone, I'm Jay.
I'm Val.
And today we're in Cincinnati, Ohio. And where are we, Val?
We are at Spring Grove Cemetery.
Now Val doesn't know this, but I picked out 5 very interesting people who have been laid to rest here, who their stories are so fantastic, we have to share them with you. So come along with us as we Jay and Val around
Spring Grove Cemetery. So Jay, who's the first one we're looking for?
So the first person we're looking for is Levi Coffin, and he was the unofficial president of the Underground Railroad, and he did some great things.
Okay, let's see if we can find him.
Let's go. So Val, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought you'd just roll on up to a grave and then you can just tell your story, but he's harder to find than I thought.
Yeah, this is a needle in a haystack.
This is a very, very, very big cemetery, so let's continue. Hopefully we'll find him soon.
I think we will.
So Levi Coffin was an American Quaker, a farmer, a businessman. He was also a leader to the Underground Railroad, and some people even called him the unofficial president of the Underground Railroad. Mr. Coffin was born near Greensboro, North Carolina, and because his family were Quakers, their faith would not allow them to own slaves. So in 1826, they moved to Indiana, right on the border of Ohio, to get away from the persecution of all of the slave owners. His home is in Fountain City, Indiana, and now it's a museum. They say over 3,000 slaves went through there under his care. Now, they used to call it the Underground Railroad Grand Central Station. So after the Civil War and the end of slavery, Levi traveled the Midwest, France, and even Great Britain, and raised over $1,000 to help with food, money, clothes, and any other type of aid that the freed slaves would need. In Mr. Coffin's last year, he wrote his autobiography, and it was published in 1876, and it was considered the best first-hand accounts of the Underground Railroad. When he passed away, 4 of his pallbearers were actually freed black men that had worked with him on the Underground Railroad.
The next one is Bernard Kroger, and he was an innovator in the grocery store business. He was known for low-cost, self-service shopping experience in 1895. He actually let the customers come into his store, shop, and take their groceries home with them. Mr. Kroger was also one of the first to sell fresh baked goods, meat, and grocery items all under the same roof. And in 1895, he actually started putting advertisements in the newspaper, and the advertisements at one point were so big they were taking up whole pages. In 1912, Mr. Kroger actually bought 75 Ford Model Ts and got rid of the 200 horse and carriages he had to deliver groceries. That was amazing in itself. They were the first to use automobiles to do home grocery delivery. So there's your Instacart back in 1912. So in the 1890s, he expanded from Cincinnati, Ohio over to Kentucky. In 1902, he had over 14 stores in Dayton, Ohio. From there, he grew into Missouri in 1912, into Indiana in 1924. By 1929, there were over 5,575 stores in total. So Mr. Kroger actually passed away July 21st of 1938. He was in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, but they brought him back here to be buried in Cincinnati.
So this is the grave of the Cool Ghoul, Richard Dick Von Hone. And he was a radio and TV character, and he also hosted a horror movie show called Screamin'. His trademark shout was blah, blah, blah. And he was a radio and TV icon for over 40 years. In 1961, the Cool Ghoul started appearing in comedy routines on the Bob Smith's Monster Mash. In 1969, Dick Von Hone went to television, and that is when the Cool Ghoul's costume was born. So at first, the costume was way too scary for the kids, so he had to scale it back and make it more silly than scary. A bright orange reddish wig was the staple of the Cool Ghoul. Now, after a while, they actually told Mr. Von Hone a story of where that wig came from. It's very, very, very sad and tragic. So the designer of the wig actually made that wig for a customer. And the customer got into a car accident and was killed. By request of the family, they cut the wig in half, and the front part of the wig went into the coffin of the customer who was killed by the car accident, right? So they gave the other half to the Cool Ghoul as part of his costume. Isn't that creepy and macabre? I mean, that is nuts. And for a long time, he had no idea that that wig represented somebody's passing away from a car accident. In the 70s, the Cool Ghoul hosted his own Saturday night show. It was a horror movie show called Screamin', and sometimes he would even have guests like Larry Smith's Hattie the Witch. So Von Hone was really good at impressions, and he did a really good Boris Karloff impression. It was so good, he fooled Boris's secretary of over 30 years. In 1971, he released a record, and it had a song on it called 10'2", Eyes of Glue, Has Anyone Seen My Ghoul? The show Screamin' only lasted 3.5 years, but the Cool Ghoul was so popular that over the years he would do public appearances, he would do commercials, and every Halloween he would show up on television. The Cincinnati Reds even gave him a jersey, the Cool Ghoul number 0. And on February 4th, 2004, Dick passed away from a heart attack.
So this tombstone here is actually made to look like the top of a submarine.
So we're at Sergeant Kimberly Walker's grave. And the reason why we're here is actually behind these tribute stones. Now, Kimberly was an Army vet and served in Iraq, but her story is tragic. In 2013, in Colorado Springs, in a hotel room, Kimberly was murdered by her boyfriend. Now, her family knew that Kimberly loved SpongeBob SquarePants. And as a tribute to her, they had her gravestone made as SpongeBob SquarePants. And we're gonna go see that in a minute. But I'm gonna tell you another story about this whole situation. So behind these stones are two SpongeBob SquarePants. Both of them are 7 foot tall. One is Kimberly's, and he has an Army uniform, and one is her twin sister Kara, who has a Navy uniform. But the story goes like this. After the family called up the officials of Spring Grove Cemetery and asked for their approval to put these gravestones up for Kimberly and her sister Kara, they agreed and approved everything. So they get the 7 foot SpongeBobs, they install them. One day later, SpongeBob was missing. And the reason why? They thought he was stolen. But that wasn't the case. The officials here in Spring Grove Cemetery decided that SpongeBob did not make the requirements and they had to take it down. So there was a 1-year fight between the family and the officials to get these SpongeBob SquarePants gravestones back installed for Kimberly and her grave. After 1 year, they finally made an appearance and they were reinstalled, but with a condition. The condition was that they can't be seen from the road, which now you see the tribute walls, which are actually covering up the actual SpongeBob SquarePants gravestones. Now let's go check out those gravestones. So at the time of the day when I'm filming this, obviously the sun is on the other side of SpongeBob, so I hope y'all can see this. But this is a 7 foot tall SpongeBob with Kimberly Walker's name on it in an Army uniform. And it also has a Jeff Gordon insignia, number 24, the NASCAR driver. Pretty dang cool. And over on this side, this is Kara Walker's SpongeBob SquarePants. And he is in the Navy uniform. And it also has a Jeff Gordon insignia on it, number 24. So they must have been really big NASCAR fans. So the cemetery offered an apology to the Walker family for immediately taking down the gravestones because they had concerns from others. And they apologized and said sorry for the distress that they gave them, and hopefully this will make everything better. Sort of the right thing happened. They got these SpongeBob SquarePants gravestones, but they just can't be seen from the road. So, I don't know. Was it a win? Was it not a win? I'm not sure. But make sure you pause the video and read what Kimberly Walker had to say on these tribute walls. It's amazing. Alrighty, that was a few stories from the Spring Grove Cemetery here in Cincinnati, Ohio. What did you think about it, Val?
This cemetery is absolutely beautiful. It has some lakes. The headstones of some of these are gorgeous. I could drive through cemeteries and just look at the headstones, but I love hearing the stories and just looking.
Yeah, I tried to pick out some interesting people here, and I think I did okay. So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Comment down below. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and help us get to 1,000 subscribers.
It'll let you know when the next video's coming out, and it'll keep you on the loop.
I want to thank you for coming along with us to Cincinnati, Ohio and the Spring Grove Cemetery. And I want to thank you for Jay and Valing around with us.
We'll never have regret.